I have returned. Ah, woo! Is it good to be back? No, not with the shit I am watching. Absolutely not. No way. Oh boy. So I took a little extended vacation, a lot longer than I planned. Honestly, I promised some things in my last couple reviews, like finishing up Secret Invasion, and I decided not to cuz fuck it. I didn't I didn't feel like doing it. Now I was so demotivated after watching episode 5 and episode 6. And fuck me, episode 6. I don't even want to talk about it. I just could not bring myself to do anything about that show at all. Any smart person with a IQ of over 75 would probably think that show is complete trash. I would hope so anyway. They would be right. That show is complete trash. And I just didn't feel the need really to finish reviewing it, and I just sort of took an extended break. But I'm back now for at least this time allotted to me right here to watch Ahsoka episode 1. I was apprehensive about looking at this in the first place. I didn't know I didn't know what to expect in the slightest, honestly. It could have been good, it could have been bad. For what we have right now in this pilot, it is, I don't even know. How do I describe it? It is. It's not a confusing mess. Like, think of all the horrible shows that come out, or movies. Either it's so boring that you can't watch it without flipping through your phone every 10 seconds, or it is a tragic discombobulation of your brain to a capacity unbeknownst to you in your conscience of how this show or movie could be such a mess. This show is neither so far. It's simply what it is, and what it is isn't confusing, but it will be confusing only to people who have not watched. And I might let me remind you, the Clone Wars, the animated series, or Rebels, the animated series. TM Star Wars, right? This show is heavily predicated on the synopsis of what has happened in Star Wars Rebels. And to my knowledge, and I have seen Star Wars Rebels, it is not popular within the zeitgeist of Clone Wars. Clone Wars has been extremely popular since it aired all the way back in 2008, 2009. Rebels was somewhere between 2014 to 2016, maybe. I'm not sure when the timeline of that show came out. Nonetheless, you will be, if you're like a casual Star Wars viewer, you're going to be extremely confused about what the fuck is happening. Which is not good for the show. There's as far as watching this episode at least, or the pilot, there's far and very few in between of anything about any kind of exposition about any of the new characters that we're getting into. Even though it's like the show is called Ahsoka, a lot of it seems to be so far anyway about rebels and rebel characters. So if you're not familiar with that, obviously you're gonna be like, who are these people? What's going on? Especially since they don't really explain much of it in this episode. And this episode is long. Almost an hour long. You can see it here, 53 minutes. That's pretty long for a pilot, especially since, fuck, if I'm looking back on the Mandalorian, it wasn't even that long. I don't believe it was anyway. I digress. It is quite complicated to pin down just how bad the show is at the moment. As far as I can know, right now, as far as I tell from the first episode, there's nothing super egregious about it. and there's nothing super spectacular about it. It is simply what it is right now at the moment. Ahsoka, for take that for what it is. Watch it at your own enjoyment if you can. We'll get into it. There's like so many things I feel like I have the need to break down just for people who haven't watched Rebels, because they go deep and heavy into these characters. I mean, they don't go heavy into them, but they like introduce most of all of them except for two. We get mentions. We don't even get a mention of Kanan, which is crazy. And there are tons of other mentions of like past lore in the Star Wars universe that I didn't even know was canon or not because of Disney and how they decanonized everything. But I guess, bringing back Rebels, it is now officially canon, just like Star Wars Clone Wars is now officially canon after like the Bad Batch and season 7 or 8 of that, whenever that came out. Which was like during like that tail end of like 2017 to 2018 when the new Star Wars movies were coming out. Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker. It's just a cavalcade of confusion for any Star Wars fan. I'll try and help you navigate that bullshit. Not that they deserve that in the first place, because those movies are dog shit, awful, and should be burned and forgotten in the hell flames of eternity. Forget about it. We'll get into the episode. It's probably going to be a long one, boys. Just for my return. Why not? Let's make this a super long recording extravaganza of this show that probably no one will remember in the next year if it doesn't do anything, crazily good. I have no like real expectations for this show. I had no real expectations for Andor, but I loved Andor. Andor showed its true colors very like cleanly in the beginning, though. It was like very clearly a different kind of Star Wars show, and it showed that through its actions, its dialogue, its scenes, its characters, of how just brilliant it was compared to everything else we got from that point. It was one of the only good Star Wars shows. Probably no, it was literally the only good Star Wars shows. Let me remind you, I did not like Boba Fett. I did not like the Mandalorian. I believe my Mandalorian reviews are still out there. They're dog shit. Boba Fett was also dog shit. Yeah, Andor was the only good one. So far, this again. So reiterate. So far, this show has not been good or bad. I just don't even know like what kind of beast this is yet. I'm not liking that there's no real explanations for these new characters we're getting, and where have they been this whole time? What have they been doing since the fall of the Empire? Maybe we'll get that in the future. I'll hold off on those remarks till maybe like halfway through this first season. I don't know how long this season will be. Probably 6 episodes, 6 to 9 episodes. I'm thinking. It's a new thing, so they're probably trying new things out. Even though there's a shit ton of money loaded in this first episode, god awful amounts of money. Where the strike, when was the strikes during the making of this show? Hollywood's been having tons of problems lately, like bringing out new content with the strikes and everything, and the actor strikes, not just the writer strikes. There's just so much shit going down that I've not like gone into in the past like week and a half on my channel, that it's just way too much. But okay, I'll get into the episode. All right, I'm sorry for ranting a little bit, going on tangents. It's been a while since I've been back. We'll get into the groove now, and that'll be that. So here we go. We actually get a title crawl here. The first title crawl since literally the rise of Skywalker. As far as I remember, The Mandalore, Boba Fett, Andor did not have a title crawl. They may have. I may have forgotten that. It's been a while. I just find it strange why this is the show they need a title crawl for. If I forgot those other ones, it's not. No, they literally didn't. I don't think they did. Anyway, the only ones that did have a title crawl were the animated series. So Rebels had it as well. Clone Wars. It's just crazy. So and it's quite short. Literally, it's if you remember the title crawls from the movies, they're quite long, and you go through a lot of time reading them and what's happening. It's just your little expository dialogue right before you get into like the action piece of your sets. and what's happening with the story. So here we have the evil galactic empire has fallen and New Republic has risen. We know this. This takes place after, or during the Mandalorian stuff. So it's after Sidious is defeated, right? We're a few years after the New Republic has taken over, right? The Empire's been defeated. All the remnants have basically been wiped out. All that jazz. This is like information most of us already know. When does the First Order rise with all this? Do they even exist now? Don't think about questions. Questions are for smart people. We're not smart people. We're sheep. All right. Don't think about that. Anyway, agents are already working to undermine this peace. A plot is underway to find the lost Imperial Grand Admiral Thrawn. So if you're not aware of who this important character is, he's a. I love it when Disney does this too, right? After the whole tumultuous era of decanonizing everything from Legends and the comics, Disney is so up their own ass that they feel the need to bring back characters from that time and inject them into their own like crazy retarded plots. And just and not taking the plots from the comic is exactly what they're doing. They decanonize the comics just to steal from them. Isn't that fucking nuts? Isn't that retarded? Fuck you, Disney. Just a reminder to everyone here. Fuck you, Disney. There we go. I had to say that. It's even if this show is good in the long run, still fuck you, Disney. Big two, big two blue birds for you. I don't care. But, anyway, Imperial Grand Admiral Thrawn. He is a very important character from those comics. He is a lot of people love him. He's very well known in like the Star Wars mythos as being this calculating, no non-merciful entity after the Empire's defeat in the comics. That lore is like way different from the lore we have now in this Disney Star Wars universe. It's kind of honestly too crazy to even try and converge those timelines and what they've like done and changed and stolen from. And let me remind you, Disney have stolen a lot from the comics, and just like just fucking crazy. Fuck them. Fuck you, Kathleen. Just again, fuck you. Ruined everything. Thank you. You ruined everything. Anyway, there's so much lore about his character, Thrawn, because he was in Rebels. By that time, though, I'm not sure if they decanonized everything from the comics. I have to check on that. If you do know, please tell me. I want to know the timeline from when that show came out, and then when Disney actually took over Star Wars. I do believe they did decanonize it at that time. I think at that time Disney did own Star Wars, somewhere between like 2014 to 2015 when the show actually came out, because that's when like the Clone Wars got canceled, and then a few years later it was renewed for Rebels when Disney took over from like Cartoon Network or whatever. There's a lot of deals going back over a fucking decade ago, right? Sorry if I didn't mention it before. Expect tons of tangents, especially when when they don't like really emphasize the importance of the characters they're showing in this show. And just like if people like again regular Star Wars fans, they don't know about them, so I feel the need to like explain what happened with their plots. Anyway, so Grand Admiral Thrawn, he's back. He's out of exile. He was presumed dead. Rumors are spreading of Thrawn's return, and blah blah blah. Imperial remnants and starting of the war. So this is important. Grand Admiral Thrawn died at the end of Rebels. Spoiler alert. There it is. And also another important character that they mention a lot in this episode. They do not go into detail about who he is or what he was, how he became who he was. He is essentially the main character of Rebels. I'll just say now his name was Ezra Bridger, not Ezra Miller. Don't get them confused. Ezra Bridger is a Jedi. Ezra Miller is a suspected pedophile who grooms children. Very different people. Don't get them confused. When will I get banned? When? Just do it. Waiting for the release of Sweet Death. Just get it over with. Anyway, we'll get more into like Ezra and his deal. I'll explain just a bit of his like footwork uh, when we get the mention of him. They're not the important ones right now. What's happening here? Again, we get like the budget for this show must be incredible. If this show doesn't succeed, Disney's already selling off like tons of assets, I believe. They've had horrible flops. Indiana Jones. I wanted to review that, but I'm more of a casual Indiana Jones viewer, so I didn't. I'm not. I didn't feel up to the task of actually reviewing Dial of Destiny, but I did watch it. It was pretty bad. They've had other horrible flops, other horrible movie flops. What else did they do? Yeah, The Little Mermaid. That was one. Um, some other live action movie. I can't remember the name of it. I think it just came out. Something else. Something else. Whatever. The point is, Disney's having a very terrible time right now with their assets. They're losing more money. Oh yeah, some Marvel movie. Whatever it was. Yeah, Secret Invasion did horrible. They're not making money on that. All their other stuff. They've just been having a cavalcade of like rock slides, tumble down on all their heads. All thanks to those stupid, retarded Disney execs. Um, and that's so surprising to see this show being so high budget for what it is right now. Anyway, you can say that whatever's happening here isn't important, except for the introduction of our new Sith, quote unquote, what they are, who they are, where they come from, what were they doing this whole time. These are all questions you don't need to know because questions are for smart people. And for a second time, reminder for all of you, we are sheep. Sheep don't ask questions; we follow directions. So forget all about all of that. Just look at how cool these new Sith are, and just how amazing cool they are. Like killing people, they're just so cool. Who are they? They look awesome, of course. So it doesn't matter what their names are or who they are. Just know that they're awesome and they're Sith. What we see from these, or what I gathered from the trailers, honestly. I believe these two, like Sith here, one's the master, one's the apprentice. They're acting as Sith, so they have to be Sith. They look to be like Inquisitors, and if you don't know what Inquisitors are, they were introduced actually in Rebels. Unless they were stolen from the comics to put into Rebels by Disney. Okay. Lots of like confusing timeline again. We all know this. And they've also been introduced in the Jedi Survivor games with Kale Kastis, the actor who played one of the characters in Shameless. He also played the Joker in the Gotham TV show, I believe, or like a version of the Joker, whatever his name was. He in those games, the Inquisitors were part of that as well, as long as some other long-standing lore that Disney decided to introduce. Those games are actually like not bad for sort of like Dark Soul esque ish like Jedi game. I played the first one. I haven't played the second one. I don't know anything about the second story, so I didn't see. I saw a few gameplay bits about it, but not like to the end of it. Anyway, I digress. This is my personal opinion. I believe them to be some sort of like mercenary. That's basically what the Inquisitors are, anyway. They're essentially like dark side mercenaries for the real Sith, and then they're like assassins, essentially, kind of like Asajj Ventress. She was also in the Clone Wars, big part of the Clone Wars, and they're disposable tools of the Sith. But now that the Sith are all gone, I guess they came up from the woodwork and are now doing stuff. I'm sure we'll get some kind of medical response of what these two are and what their whole deal is. Uh, it'll take a while to find that, unless there's like bad dialogue in between and they don't explain it well. It'll just like lose points for the series as a whole. We don't need the explanation right now. I'm fine with that. They don't really give one, so that's fine. It's a slow burn into finding out about our new characters. These people, they were not in Rebels. These guys are new. They're Disney Star Wars like OCs. Okay, they were not in Rebels, so they're a whole brand new deal that are coming out of the woodworks. And it just depends on how the story's written after this episode. What's going to happen with them, we don't know yet. So we'll just, figure that out. Anyway, they're here for a prisoner that Ahsoka Tano actually captured. She's not on the ship, apparently, for some reason. She's just here. She easily escapes. The two Inquisitor Siths, whatever they are, uh, Force users, they they free her, and now they're gonna go on whatever the deal they have. They're allies in some respect. We don't know that essentially right now. Here we go, Ahsoka. Now Ahsoka, she's been in The Mandalorian, and she was also in Boba Fett, I believe. Ooh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Was she in Boba Fett? She might have had a cameo in Boba. No, she was. She was in Boba Fett. That's right. Those last two Boba Fett episodes where they went to meet Luke. She was in there. That's correct. She was in there. God damn Boba Fett shows. Fucking bloody mess. Anyway, Ahsoka's one of those. If you're not privy to her, she's one of those main characters from the Clone Wars. She's Anakin Skywalker's disciple in that version, where she is, Snips, another one of her nicknames. In the beginning, she wasn't well liked, which is understandable, but throughout the Clone Wars show, more and more people began to like her. She grew a lot, and she had a lot of character development in that show. It took a long time. It took like 5 seasons, right? It was she is a well liked character. So if I would suggest watching the Clone Wars. From what I did enjoy it. It was okay. It wasn't the best of Star Wars, but better than anything from the new trilogy. So go watch it. It's a whole lot of fun. There's a lot of things going on in that show. Not just like the Jedi, but a lot from the clones, character development wise as well. There's just a lot of things to like pick and choose from of what you like. It's mostly an anthology series. I believe I mentioned that before in some other kind of review. There's you can pick and choose like what arcs you want to look at, and I would just start from the beginning though, and then go to the end from season 1 to season 8, whatever. Anyway, she's here on a mission. Uh, the reason she's here is because after she captured that person that those two Sith just freed, she gave her coordinates to a map. This MacGuffin that's going to show them the location of Ezra and Thrawn. Now, I feel I have the need to establish what happened then. I won't do it now. I'll do it. Let me do that later. Actually, we're just here to get the map. We don't even know what it is yet in this part of the episode. So, Ahsoka goes down. Who knows where she is? We don't know. We don't know if this is a Jedi temple of some sorts, or what kind of like. There are no baby traps at all anywhere to get this map. But anyway, she solves the puzzle. Quick puzzle. She solves it, gets the map, and when she comes back up, she has to fight these stupid ass droids that are easy for her to defeat. I will say the action in the lightsaber combat in this episode, not very good. It's slow, and it's not particularly enjoyable. I'm not a fan of the combat so far. The Sith's combat was okay actually, in the beginning anyway, when they were slaughtering the Republican troops or whatever, the New Republic troops. It's just Ahsoka and like you'll see later, Sabine. It wasn't very good. There wasn't a lot of. I mean, there were at least 3 instances of like combat. The one in the beginning, this one, and then one at the end. And they're still kind of, I don't know. It's not that great. I didn't expect the action scenes to be that great. Anyway, as far I mean the CGI is pretty good. They spent a lot of money on that. They spent a lot of money on these new sets and everything. CGI sets. You think these sets are real? Don't fucking kid yourself. Okay. You think they'd use real sets? Get out of here, dude. Anyway, she comes across these random droids that just sort of ambush her. Where they come from, we don't know yet. We know what or group or order they're part of. Ahsoka dispatches them easily. Let me know, Ahsoka is a powerful Jedi. Very again trained by Anakin. She didn't complete her training, but nonetheless, she is very powerful. In Rebels, I'll just spoil it. She did fight literally Darth Vader. She lost, but then there were some supertisms where she came back to death from death. Literally, you're gonna have to go watch Rebels for that and find out about all that. I know that sounds ridiculous. Like, there's some. This is one of the reasons I don't like Rebels. Massive tisms in that show towards the end, just ridiculous. Uh, I can't even. I explaining it here would take another hour, other than just like trying to review this one episode. But one episode did that because they're leaving so much context out of Rebels. I guess Disney's just assuming everyone's watched it. Or I guess people are going to have to watch it now to get to know the characters that they introduce here. And it's fucking stupid. Anyway, sorry for the sidetrack. Back to the show. She dispatches these guys pretty easily. She doesn't like kill murder them, but they all like self-destruct, and that doesn't matter because she escapes just easily. Their self-destruct button wasn't like instant, so even though it like destroyed this whole fucking landscape, okay, it's like a citywide destruction, whatever. Doesn't matter. She gets back on her ship. Everything's fine. She has the map. There's only one place to go now, and they're going to be going to Lothal. For that, though, she's got to go meet with one of our characters from Rebels. In Rebels, she wasn't a general. In this one, she is. I actually forget her name. She is very important in Rebels, mainly because, and they didn't explain it here, in this episode, she has a child with a Jedi Knight, Kanan Jarrus. There was actually a cameo of Kanan Jarrus in the first season of The Bad Batch, if you watch that, and he was important in Rebels. So I guess Kanan is now canon, and Kanan is dead. He died in Rebels, protecting all the friends of Rebels, Sabine, this girl, Ezra, and there's one other guy. I forget his name. He was like the voice actor for every clone in that show. But anyway, what they're like going through here, they have footage of the attacked ship from the two Inquisitors. I'm just gonna keep calling them Inquisitors, even though they don't have the special lightsaber that looks like the Inquisitor lightsaber. They're basically past Jedi. But as far as I know, they're basically like mercenary Siths. So we'll just keep them at that, and they're trying to like do things. And she's like, okay, yeah, we know these guys. We need help though. How are we gonna fight them? We have the map. We're gonna try and find Ezra. They're all friends of Ezra. Ezra is a huge component of Rebels. He's the main character. He's a Force user born after the Purge, I believe, of just like a few years after the Purge. I think Rebels takes place like after. I think it's like 12 years after the Purge or something like that. 13 years maybe. Maybe he was born like during the Purge. So the timelines add up a little more better. Anyway, he's a teenager in that show, and then he like grows up during it, and until we like find out after he dies quote unquote. He might not be dead now, whatever. Again, it's just like Ezra is like so important here. They do like bombshells of his name, but they don't explain why he was so important. So all you new viewers are going to be out of the loop unless you actually watch Rebels. Maybe just for this episode. Maybe the next one will have like more, detailed explanations about that plot line that did end, and then they had to restart it. I guess these characters didn't need to be here. Anyway, doesn't matter. They're talking about Sabine at this point, and they're like, okay, we gotta go to Lothal. Lothal is a planet is where Ezra was born, basically. And it is his home. And it's basically become Sabine's home and everyone else's home. It was like one of the strongholds that faced off against the tyranny of the Empire back when the rebellion was still young. So when we come here, Ahsoka's coming to meet Sabine. We get a bombshell that apparently Sabine is Ahsoka's apprentice. That's new to me. This is not something that happened in Rebels. It is distressing in a lot of ways because Sabine is not a Force user. But now if they're introducing the new canon of the new trilogy to here, quote unquote,
how Rey has the Force.
Everyone has the Force, even Hux.
Yes, thank you, Rey. Yes, everybody has the Force. uh, oh man, it's such a drag. You know why it's a drag. Obviously because
Everyone can be super. And when everyone's super, no one will be.
and that's exactly right. Thank you, Syndrome. We appreciate you. Anyway, Mr. Krabs is up here. This is Mr. Krabs, the voice actor of Mr. Krabs. He's in a lot of shows. He was in fucking Starship Troopers, dude. He's great. Anyway, he was in Detroit Become Human as well. He's been in a lot of shit. They're having like a sort of memorial for everyone that helped Lethal all those years ago escape oppression. And Sabine's supposed to come up and give a speech. Sabine doesn't do that. These are the Rebels cast right here. So Ezra's in the middle. That's Ezra. This is by the end of like Rebels. There's a younger version of him when it like first starts. That's Kanan. Kanan's the one with the ponytail right there. I don't know. I'd say go watch like Rebels, but I don't think it was that good. There are good moments to it. Overall, I didn't really enjoy it. And then Sabine's on the right with the white to purple hair. This guy, the big purple man, I forget what his name is and what species he is. Anyway, what I mean to mention is Kanan and the general here with the tentacles, they get married before Kanan dies, or maybe not married, but they have a child anyway. It just wasn't mentioned in this episode, so maybe they got rid of it. Who knows? They could have. I mean, fucking all. I know they don't explain anything about these characters and what's been happening since after the Empire fell. So news to me. What they're doing here, they're just it seems like maybe it would have been a good choice in this 50 long minute episode. Just get all your fucking exposition out of the way. Just fuck it, right? If they could have done it in a great way, that would have been helpful. But they don't go to details, so it's sort of confusing. Anyway, Sabine, we see Sabine here. Sabine is a Mandalorian, and this is what's like really confusing about the connection of these timelines between the other Disney shows, specifically The Mandalorian. Because Sabine here was actually the wielder of the dark saber. It was before Mando got it. So you know, as far as I remember, I'm not really sure how Moff Gideon actually got the dark saber. It's been a while, but he would have had to have gotten it from Sabine somehow, or she just lost it because again, she wielded it. She became the house leader of House Pre Vizsla or whatever, which gave her ownership of the dark saber. And all that context is lost in this episode. They don't mention the dark saber at all for her, so I don't know. They just don't explain it. So there's mysteries abound here that they should be explaining for people that did watch that show, and onwards. So minus points again. It's just weird. It's just weird. Anyway, Mr. Krabs sent his people after her, trying to find her, and she just like escapes them. Even though they're, she's on a speeder, they're on, fucking their jet planes or whatever the fuck. They're super like, super vehicles. She just evades them, and they decide not to capture her. Whatever. She's a friend, I guess. So where Sabina's going now, she's actually at Ezra's home, and they're great friends in the show. Like the best of friends. They battled together. They loved each other in their friendship way, not like romantically, because Ezra was just like too young. But they had a connection between Ezra had a connection with all of them, right? And they were great friends. It was very sad to see him die after this. This is also Ezra's pet, I believe, from the fall. Anyway, she's just remembering this Ezra and the hologram. I've sort of explained what Ezra is to Rebels. I haven't explained how he died. And it's pretty retarded. And it doesn't explain how they're going to meet him now because it doesn't make any sense. So I've alluded to the map, right? So this is how Ezra and Thrawn both died. Ezra sacrificed himself to kill Thrawn. or kill, quote unquote. And the reason for this is because Ezra has a special force power. This is actually a force power that's been seen in maybe not the OT, but prequels and onward. The ability to like animal friendship in D&D, right? So you can like force touch an animal, and if it has any semblance of intelligence, you can calm it down, and it'll follow your commands. So Ezra had a special connection with these beasts called space whales. Well, I'm calling them that. I forget their actual name in Star Wars. They're literally, and I'm not joking, space whales. Giant space whales that fly through space at the speed of light or faster. Uh, take what you will from that. That's what they are. Okay. Maybe I'll get an image of what they are right here. I'll show it right now. It's kind of ridiculous. Anyway, during the end of that show, Ezra elicited the help of his, space whale buddies to, oh my god, he like used them. And the space whales have like the ability to go into super hyperdrive and fly, just anywhere they want, through space. And he was on the ship with Thrawn, and they got taken by the space whales out of the area along with like Thrawn's fleet or whatever. Ezra and Thrawn were there together. Ezra was keeping him check, and he sacrificed himself. There was only that one way, I guess, to save everyone there on the Battle of the Fall, and defeat Thrawn. And he did it. So that was Ezra's sacrifice, and since then he's been lost. So what I don't understand is, how are they going to find Ezra? So for those space whales can travel for as far as we know indefinitely for as how long as they can go throughout the universe, right? So for instance, the map we got, that sphere that Ahsoka got, it is literally a map to find them. How did the map come to be? Which is why I would call it a MacGuffin, like a literal true MacGuffin, because it's like all the other. Star Wars just can't help itself, just constantly making MacGuffins to find things and find people. If you remember the new trilogy, the map, the sword map to find the Death Star, all the cube, the holocron, whatever, the Sith holocron, and then down the map here in this show. Just fucking stop. Just stop. We're sick of MacGuffins. Why do you stop it? We don't need it. You could have made Ezra come back on his own, like apparently Thrawn has. But so why do you need the map then? If Thrawn's back, then that means Ezra's back, unless he's dead. Will Ezra be dead, or will they actually find him? I'd find it strange if they gave him a whole new actor here, if he didn't return in some shape, way, or form. Maybe he'll die. It seems like the show's primarily focused on our girl cast, Ahsoka, Sabine, and the General. So maybe I know, who knows with Star Wars, right? What they're gonna do with characters. Anyway, it's just confusing. The map really shouldn't be there, but whatever. So she's just sad about the holocron here. Anyway, we skip forward a little bit, and we go back to our Sith here, and the freed prisoner. I forget her name, but what is important about her is she is apparently a Night Sister, even though she does not look like one. If you're not aware, the Night Sisters, they were introduced in the Clone Wars, more part of Star Wars lore. As far as I know, maybe they were introduced in the comics, and I forgot, and Disney stole it again. I don't believe they do. They did though, maybe, possibly. Anyway, the Night Sisters are these magical group of witches that have somewhat Force-like powers. They're not technically the Force. They're literally witches. So they can like use spells to do things. I mean, they can make Force users with their spells in some circumstances if they're like powerful enough, I guess. So it's just weird that this is actually, and the Night Sister like homeworld is actually the homeworld, and this is all part of lore where Darth Maul was like scouted as a Sith. They're like two different. So you have the sisters, and then you have whatever the species Darth Maul is. They live on opposite sides. The sisters are like the matriarch of like the planet, and the Darth Mauls like serve under them, whatever their species is. Anyway, that's just a bit more context, so you guys will like figure out what's going on, because the show doesn't explain it again. Anyway, they're just here figuring out, what they're, what to do, what they're gonna go find, and the master here sends, his apprentice on a mission to go find the map because they lost the map. They don't have it. They know Ahsoka has it though, and they're like worry. The two sis here are just like worried of her and what like her plan is, but they have their own plan in mind of some sort. They might betray her, maybe not, or they're like complete allies. Who knows? Important thing here is that we finally get um, the conversation between Ahsoka and Sabine. So during this time, after it would have to be literally after Rebels because this wasn't. They changed this. So Sabine has become the apprentice of Ahsoka, and for whatever that means, it means she could be a Force user. She would have to be in order for Ahsoka to make her apprentice. Because at the end of this episode, we see her have her own. She's built her own lightsaber to replace the dark saber. So it's just weird. Anyway, through all that, we don't know like the full context of this, and I can't like speak for it because this is brand new. There's some sort of like bad blood between Sabine and Ahsoka as master and student. How maybe Ahsoka sort of abandoned her or walked away from her, or how Sabine wasn't the best student, didn't listen. And the whole point of this is that Ahsoka gives her the map. She's like, this is help to find Ezra. They're all friends with Ezra, and we want to find Ezra, so we need your help to do this. And they go over. I wouldn't say their dialogue's bad. It's just slow. Yeah, slow. And the main point of it is like it's what's seeming to be maybe the end quest goal of this campaign, right? To find Ezra, get him home safe, and then be with Ezra, right? Because Ezra's like the best guy ever, right? He's so nice. Um, he's a pretty good character from what I remember from Rebels. Just the whole plot of Rebels wasn't very good. Anyway, they miss their friend Ezra, so Ahsoka goes back to talk with him, and she's like, who knows what's gonna happen with her? I'm not really sure. They're investigating. They have their lightsabers of the Sith on hold. This is where we find out they're actually Jedi trained. And even though they're not Jedi now, they've been, around for who knows how long in the darkness, doing God knows what, right? So, just Disney, can you stop like adding Force characters that have been like mysteriously disappeared only to reappear later? It's quite annoying. I don't like it. We have to stop doing that. Introducing characters that should have been part of like the OT this whole time that have just been, in the dark. It's extremely annoying. Because what's Luke doing right now in this episode? He's alive, we know that. And Mando, I guess, is alive. Boba Fett, in the timeline of all these shows, where is this taking place? It's a fucking mystery, right? So whatever. Anyway, they're trying to find out who these people are, and they find out who the master is, and master apprentice. So they come to the conclusion that okay, these guys are Sith or new Sith, whatever that means, and we're gonna have to end up stopping them. So beyond this point, his apprentice, we don't know her name yet. She's coming here. They told her to go to the fall because that's where Ahsoka went, and they know that for some reason. And this is the part where Sabine just like takes a long time to like open up the map, and it's like sort of a puzzle in and of itself. And during that time, she's having a talk. Ahsoka's having a talk with the general, thinking that maybe it's not a good idea to bring Sabine with us. She resents me, and she's like, she's not. She doesn't resent you. She's just maybe sort of mad at you because you guys aren't like meshing well. I think it'll be fine. You guys should stay together, master and apprentice. It's still not known whether or not Sabine has the actual Force. I just don't know. Anyway, she finally unlocks the map. And during this, she finds the location to like find Ezra, and unfortunately for her, she gets attacked by the girls like droids. They blow up all of her shit, blow up all of her data. They steal the map, and when she goes out, there it is. You can see her lightsaber. She has it there. And let me see if I can get a scene of this without getting a copyright strike. We always gotta worry about that. I know I've been away for a while. We still gotta worry about the copyright strike. And there you go. She has a green lightsaber like Ahsoka did back in the past. If you don't know, this is also Star Wars lore. Your obviously your lightsaber color is denoted of like your affiliation with the Force. So red is for Siths, blue, green, purple for Jedi. White, which is what Ahsoka has, is like a combination of sort of both the dark and the good, and it's like a symbolization of dark and good. It's supposed to be like, Force uses that are in between the good and the dark are like more powerful than just one side because they've had teachings from both, and that makes them stronger. Something like there's some I would go look up like a YouTube video tutorial or whatever explanation about that. Okay. uh, anyway, so this is just another not so good fight scene. Very slow. Very not maybe not choppy. There's not like a whole lot of cuts. It's just not good looking. There's too much holding, not enough movement, especially with like lightsaber fights, where the holding shouldn't be like this. They should be like used as go watch Shadowversity. He has explanations of lightsaber duels as well, just like regular sword fighting, which is very helpful if you I don't know want to sword fight. Um, but through all this, Sabine already called Ahsoka to like get help. But through all this, Sabine basically gets stabbed through the chest. She loses here this battle. Through this right there, bam. Obviously, let me see if I can get like an actual like just like where was that stab? Because it was pretty. It was definitely not on one of her vitals, which is probably the reason why she will survive here. Right there. No, 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 nowhere near her like real vitals. Where even is that on your body? Not your lung, that's for sure. Maybe, maybe. Um. Anyway, stronger people have survived worse. Darth Maul got cut in half and turned into a spider at one point. Okay. You know, he shouldn't have, but he did. Who knows how Ahsoka's gonna save her here? This kind of wound could literally kill her, like stabbed through the abdomen with a burning hot lightsaber. You're not going to survive most likely. But don't worry, there's no way they would bring her here just to kill her off. The Ahsoka's probably going to force heal her or give her some super stem pack or whatever that heals her burn. And there we go. Sabine will be alive. I have no qualms that Sabine is, actually dead. There's no fucking way that that's a reality. So there we go, guys. Pretty much the end of the episode here. We leave off where she escapes with the map, and all the guys are fucked now. They can't go. I actually don't know what this message is for our friend Ray. Whoever that is, I guess. If Ray is dead, they should have said that. Or maybe not. Whoever Ray is it a dog? Is it a person? I don't know. That's pretty much the end of the episode. As first episodes go, for the pilot, I'm going to say this is not very good. Not very good by a long shot. There are numerous problems already just within the first episode. A lot of it having to do with, like, very, very terrible explanations of, like, what's happening within, like, the story. And this is bad when you're introducing tons of new characters that a lot of people probably haven't seen within the Star Wars mythos, like all these people from Rebels. And so if you haven't seen Rebels, then there's no way you're going to understand, really the plot of this show so far. I mean, you don't understand the plot, but, the characters that are inserted into the plot, you have no idea what their deal is. Not that the show really gives a good idea of how these characters act all together. There's not enough information. There's not enough development yet, and it's not good. So they should have done better on that front. And it's like, what are you gonna do, right? If you're a new guy, you're gonna go watch all of Rebels to understand this. You gotta go watch all of Mandalorian. You gotta go watch all of fucking Boba Fett just to understand what's happening now in the story. You have to watch like 4 seasons of all of that, 3 seasons of Mando, all those episodes of Boba Fett. What else? What else are you gonna need to like actually understand what's going on here? And it's just that's not a good thing to do, to like force your audience to do that. They had ample opportunities in this episode to really try and flesh out that stuff with dialogue and just just even just a little bit of expository scenes what happened within that other show, but they didn't do that. They didn't even mention Kanan at all. They showed one little fucking cartoon picture from the series, the animated series. That was it. Pretty fucking crazy. So if I'm gonna rate the episode, I'd rate it from 3 to 4. So it's not a very good start. As far as our villains are concerned, I'm not. I'll hold out really on any hard opinions on them. I'm not jiving with our new Sith girl here, whatever her name is. Maybe they did say it. I don't even remember, honestly, after watching it. Now, I watched it twice. I still don't even really care. She seems like she's trying really hard to be a bad girl, she's trying to be that. I don't know. Her acting's a bit weird. I'm more interested in her master than anything else and what his deal is. As far as like, it's not even. It doesn't even seem like the show is about Ahsoka. It seems more about Rebels. I mean, Ahsoka was in Rebels, but not for long. Oh my god, I didn't even explain how she died. I talked about the Tisms. I'll just say it. So she was fighting Darth Vader and she was supposed to die. But then Ezra fucked it all up. Her death. And somehow, some way, through, fucking whatever force magic, they introduced time travel. And Ezra pulled her out of the fight in the future. It fucking retarded. That's as far as I'll explain that. You'll have to go watch the show to understand. I can't even. I have to go rewatch it myself at that point to even think about what happened there. It was just retarded. Anyway, they did introduce time travel, which is bad. It's always time travel. They always got to introduce time travel, never explain it. And they do explain it. It's explained horribly, whatever. And as far as Ahsoka goes here in her own show, she's not. How do I put this nicely? Let's put this in quotes. I don't really think she's Ahsoka. Rosario Dawson is a good actor. I appreciate her work. She does a good job. It's just the way they're using Ahsoka. I'm not getting the vibe that she's. It's like an almost entirely different character, and that's strange. And we finally, we've got her here, and she doesn't even have a lot of dialogue in this episode, so she's not really acting like Ahsoka. It's just strange. I don't hopefully they remedy that in the next few episodes. They should anyway. It's supposed to be her show. It's just I'm not. I have high expectations for it. Um, I'm gonna hold off on those expectations. I'm not gonna say it's just shit outright yet. It's pretty bad though so far. Um, and I think that's it, guys. Yes, this has been a pretty lame episode. Hopefully, next episode won't be lame. This is the problem with a lot of shows nowadays. They don't, they start off either middling to bad, and then they just progressively get worse, and they don't change for the better. Andor started really good and ended on a really big high note, which like gave it this garner of likability within the show and its characters. This show has failed on developing any of them in any real meaningful way so far. And with its 50-minute runtime, that's not good. It didn't even really develop the villains, which is usually the like stand point for all your characters, your protagonists anyway. Uh, you know, anything else of the show, CGI was alright, I guess. I mean, they poured a lot of money into it, all the scenes and everything. I mean, you can look right here. This is pretty nice. It's all CGI though. The fight scenes very bad. Not liking them. Pretty horrible. They're just so slow. Maybe not. I think I already said they weren't choppy, but maybe they were kind of choppy. It's just the slow moving aspect of they I don't know what Disney needs to like hire an actual like good stunt coordinator to help their actors do these fighting scenes, or just get like fucking stunt doubles to do it. Like fuck it, just get them. Who gives a fuck? Like, you're Disney, you have money, just get stunt doubles. It seems your actors don't know how to fight. Get stunt doubles. Why, if you're gonna teach them, really teach them. You know, whatever. We'll see. We'll see what happens in the next episode. I'm not excited, and I think I'm signing off now, guys. So I hope you all have a nice night, and I'll see ya.